Today we trace the history of a glorious but ultimately extinguished civilization, a story of the glory of Islam in Granada, the last pearl of Andalusia on the Iberian Peninsula. In 711 AD, Muslim forces from North Africa, led by Tariq ibn Ziyad, crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and set foot on European soil. In a short time, they conquered most of what is now Spain and Portugal. Granada began to play an important role after the collapse of the Caliphate of Córdoba in the 11th century. Political chaos led to the emergence of small kingdoms known as taifas. In 1238, the last Muslim dynasty emerged in Spain, the Nasrid Dynasty, founded by Muhammad ibn al-Ahmar. He founded the Kingdom of Granada as the last surviving Muslim state in the Iberian lands. The Nasrid Dynasty ruled for more than 250 years, establishing Granada as a center of extraordinary civilization. It is here that the Alhambra stands, a magnificent palace that is a symbol of the beauty of Islamic architecture. Granada reached its peak under the Nasrid Dynasty. The city became a center of science, art, literature, and architecture. Scientists, poets, philosophers, and artists gathered here. The Alhambra, which means the red one in Arabic, was built with extraordinary beauty, carved Quranic calligraphy, manicured gardens, a sophisticated irrigation system, and views of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Islam in Granada was not only about political power, but also about cultural and intellectual achievement. Religious tolerance was also an important part of social life, although not without conflict. But this glory was slowly under threat. In the north, Christian kingdoms, such as Castile and Aragon, were gaining strength. The Reconquista, the Christian reconquest, was gaining momentum. One by one, the Muslim territories fell. Granada became the last stronghold of Islam in Iberia. The last Nasrid king, Abu Abdullah Muhammad XII, was known to the West as Boabdil. In 1492, after a long siege, Boabdil surrendered to King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. The surrender of Granada marked the end of 8 centuries of Islamic presence in Spain. Legend has it that as he left Granada, Boabdil wept at a spot now known as El Suspiro del Moro, the last sigh of the Moor. After the fall of Granada, Muslims were promised religious freedom, but that promise was not kept for long. Repression increased, mosques were converted into churches, the Arabic language was banned, and even wearing traditional clothing was forbidden. The Muslims who remained, known as Moriscos, were forcibly converted to Christianity. Many of them did so only outwardly, while still holding on to Islam in secret. Eventually, between 1609 and 1614, all Moriscos were expelled from Spain. Islam was completely eradicated from the land that had once been its cultural center. Although Islam was politically eradicated, its traces could not be extinguished. The Alhambra remains as a silent witness to the architectural beauty and greatness of Islam in the past. Many Spanish words come from Arabic, from azúcar, sugar, to almohada, pillow. The intellectual and cultural heritage of Islam in Granada influenced the rise of Europe, what we know as the Renaissance, which drew heavily on the scientific knowledge that flourished in Al-Andalus. Today, millions of people visit the Alhambra every year, captivated by its beauty and history. Granada remains a reminder that Islam was once a beacon of knowledge and culture at the heart of Europe. Granada is a story of a light shining in the dark, of a splendor that eventually faded, but never completely went out. Islam in Granada is not just about past history. It is a lesson in tolerance, the glory of knowledge, and the importance of preserving the heritage of civilization for the future. Granada has been lost to Islam, but its soul lives on in poetry, stone, and a spirit that is timeless. History is not just made by events, but by the figures who played a significant role behind them. Granada has great figures who deserve to be remembered. The founder of the Nasrid Dynasty, Muhammad I, was a smart leader who succeeded in establishing the Kingdom of Granada amidst pressure from the Christian kingdom. He established diplomacy with the Kingdom of Castile in order to maintain the continuity of his kingdom. He also started the construction of the Alhambra, which became a symbol of the glory of Islam in Granada. The two great sultans of the Nasrid dynasty in the 14th century expanded the construction of the Alhambra to be more complex and beautiful. During their time, Granada was known as one of the most prosperous centers of civilization in Europe. An Andalusian historian, physician, poet, and politician. He is known for his works in history and philosophy, including important accounts of the Black Death that ravaged Europe. He is one example of Granada's rich intellectual and literary heritage. The last king of Granada, famous for surrendering the city to Ferdinand and Isabella. He was a tragic figure, caught between diplomacy, pressure from his own family, and the military might of the Christian kingdom. He was later exiled and died in Morocco. Although Granada's history is marked by military conflict, relations between Muslims and Christians also show periods of coexistence. This period is referred to by some historians as the period of convivencia, coexistence. In Granada, many Jewish and Christian scholars collaborated with Muslim scholars in the fields of science and philosophy. The translation of Greek texts into Arabic and then into Latin became a bridge of knowledge between East and West. However, convivencia was not without limits. Tolerance depended heavily on political stability and just leadership. When power changed or threats increased, inter-religious tensions re-emerge. One cannot talk about Islam in Granada without mentioning the Alhambra, the magnificent palace, the last symbol of Islamic civilization in Europe. Built on the Sabika Hill, the Alhambra was not only the center of government, but also the residence of the royal family and a spiritual symbol. The beauty of the Alhambra has inspired artists, poets, and architects from all over the world, even centuries after its fall. After centuries, Islam has returned to Granada, not as a political force, but as part of its cultural and spiritual heritage. Today, Granada has a small but active Muslim community. The Great Mosque of Granada, Mezquita Mayor de Granada, stands majestically facing the Alhambra in the Al-Bayzin quarter, the old Muslim quarter preserved by UNESCO. Muslims from many countries, including immigrants from Morocco, Pakistan, and Arab countries, live and work in the city. They reconnect the ties of history that were once severed. Granada is a mirror of the journey of human history, of the glory that once shone upon the world, of the heartbreaking collapse, and of the hope that never dies. Islam in Granada is not just a memory of the past, it is a lesson for the future, of the importance of knowledge, tolerance, beauty, and justice. And every step we take on the cobblestone streets of Granada's old city, every echo of the call to prayer that re-echoes in its valleys, is a testimony that this heritage is still alive. Still alive. Not as a shadow of the past, but as a light that guides forward. In the midst of modernity and globalization, Granada offers a space for contemplation, how the past can coexist with the present without canceling each other out. Ancient buildings coexist with modern cafes, and the sound of the Quran can be heard alongside the chime of church bells.